Welcome back to Litigating Literature, everyone's favorite podcast for settling Shakespearean disputes. In this episode, we have two special guests to discuss Macbeth by William Shakespeare, Macbeth himself and one of the three witches. Throughout this podcast, we will be talking about Macbeth's downfall and whether it was because he was gullible or corrupted. Today's podcast is sponsored by Tragic Flaw Law Firm. Are you a hero with a fatal trait that keeps bringing you down? Call the lawyers at Tragic Flaw Law. Will make you the protagonist you deserve to be. We start our interview off with Macbeth, once a war hero, but is now being held captive in Scotland's highest security prison on 6 counts of murder. For 2 of King Duncan's guards, King Duncan himself, Banquo, and Macduff's wife and child. The prosecution is claiming that Macbeth murdered in order to become king and maintain his kingship. Macbeth, why do you think you had a downfall during this time of your life?
The witches used their power to corrupt me. They gave me prophecies that led to my actions. They told me I would be king and led me down a path to destruction. They increased my ambition. Before I was content being a soldier, but the witches made me believe that I should be more than that.
Did Lady Macbeth have an influence on your actions?
Lady Macbeth definitely had an influence on my actions. She pushed me to murder King Duncan when I didn't want to. It is difficult to reject your wife when she tells you, "When you durst do it, then you were a man, and be more than you were, you would be so much more the man." I wanted to please my wife, and I feared the thought of her resenting me if I did not commit the crime. Although she was the one who forced me to kill King Duncan, it was the witches who gave her the ambition. She was made aware of the prophecies, and they gave her the thought that I was going to be king, and she was now willing to kill for it. The witches' prophecies corrupted my wife.
But why did you not believe the prophecies like Banquo?
The witches told me that I would be the Thane of Cawdor. Almost immediately after they told me this, I was given the title. This proved to me that the witches' prophecies were true. Banquo had no way of knowing whether or not his prophecies would become reality. But after the first prophecy came true, it became clear to me that they had some knowledge of the future. When they hailed me as the one who shall be king hereafter, I believed that there could be a chance at the throne. After the witches gave me this truth.
Now we turn to the prosecution's main witness, one of the weird sisters that delivered the prophecies that the defense claimed sparked it all. Let's welcome Etta to the show. Do you think Macbeth would have become murderous with or without the prophecies from the witches?
I did not tell Macbeth to kill. That violence came from within. When I watched him unsee MacDonald from the nave to the chops, I could feel the terror in his body. It was natural for him to kill, so I was not surprised when he turned to murder. It was also his brain that saw the dagger, a false creation proceeding from his heat-oppressed brain, which proves that his mind was corrupted by evil thoughts.
Why do people associate the word weird in the sisters?
People are afraid of the power we possess, yet their fate is a choice made by them. The sailor's wife chose not to share with my sister, and Macbeth chose to murder those in his way. They call us weird because we equivocate our words. Mortals are afraid to interpret things, as it allows their morality to come into play. They fear us like they fear themselves. In Macbeth's case, he feared his lack of morality, and slowly let it consume him with every murder he committed.
Before I ask Etta this last question, I'd like all of our Twitter followers out there to go to @Litigating Literature and vote on our poll to tell us if you think Macbeth is guilty or not. From the beginning, did you want to see Macbeth fail?
Fair is foul, and foul is fair. We knew he would be king, but we could not predict the way he would get there. Hecate knows better than we do, for we are merely her servants. By giving Macbeth the apparitions, we warned him to beware of the man that ultimately killed him. He knew when to run and give up, but his own stubbornness killed him. If we wanted him to fail, we could have used even more ambiguous prophecies for his corrupted mind to interpret. Yet we clearly told him, beware Macduff.
Let's go back and look at Twitter to see how our listeners feel about Macbeth. @McDonald05 says, "Justice needs to be served. Make him suffer for killing my family." @Lady Macbeth tweeted, "Blood can be washed off. A conscience can be restored." And finally, @King Malcolm replied, "Order has been restored since his removal. Scotland is better now." The results of the poll stand deadlocked at 50-50, so I guess we'll have to wait for the true jury to break the tie for us. I'll be back in a minute with our results. The jury has reached a verdict on the case of Macbeth v. Scotland. This episode verdict is brought to you by Cawdor Daggers, perfect for battle, and if you purchase using the discount code Macbeth, you'll get our 100% not a hallucination guarantee. Let's tune in to the courthouse for a decision.
We, the jury of Scotland in the Northern Isles, find the defendant guilty on 6 counts of first-degree murder.
So there you have it, folks. Make sure to tune in next week to break down the deaths of Romeo and Juliet.